everyone. This is your host, Brittany, and thank you for joining me on this week's episode of PCAT and Pre-Pharmacy Podcast, where we talk about everything pharmacy from the pre-pharmacy journey to life after pharmacy school. This week, our guest, who once worked in the computer engineering arena, is now a pediatric pharmacist and is going to share her decision on why she changed careers, in addition to continuing her education now in a Master's of Public Health program. But before we get started with the interview, I want to remind you that the next PCAT testing dates are fastly approaching. I see that there is an exam in July, September, and the last one for this year is October. So please make sure to check out crackthepcat.com for all of your study materials. Also, make sure to stay tuned to the end of the interview where I'll remind you about that scholarship opportunity and give you all of the details. Now, let's get started with the show. All right. Hi, Chimmy. Thank you for joining us again. Can you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure. My full name is Chimdimma Ohiri, but my short, easy name to pronounce is Chimmy.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit of like where you went to school? And of course, if the audience doesn't know from my intro, you are a pharmacist. Just give us a little bit of your, like education background.
Okay. Well, I was born here but raised back home in Nigeria. I'm originally from Nigeria, and school-wise, I went to school at University of Houston. Initially, I started with a degree in computer engineering technology from U of H, and that was many, many years ago. And I worked for some time, and with the whole computer industry is not always stable. So when they were in the process of laying off and all that, I decided to sit back and think about it. What job would I do that would not have any problems, no layoffs, and that is very stable? So I started considering going back to school and studying pharmacy. So I ended up going to Texas Southern University, and that's where I got my PharmD degree.
Oh, great. So what made you interested in pharmacy?
To be honest with you, what really got me into it is stability. I wanted a stable job. I wanted something that was not going to be so stressful. In the medical field, they have their own pressure and stress, of course, but I just wanted something that was more stable, that I didn't have to have issues about getting laid off after my previous experience. And I forgot to mention what I had. I worked for some time after getting my computer engineering degree. I worked as a network engineer, and the competition was really high. The demand was high, and I did not enjoy working after hours, like when people get off work and I'll go into work at 6 p.m. So I knew that the pharmacy job was more stable, and that's what made me actually decide to go into pharmacy school.
Oh, okay, good. I really like to highlight people's journeys because I say all the time on this podcast that it's not just like a cookie cutter way in order to
Right.
pursue your passions. And I always like to highlight my guests, journeys on to being a pharmacist because that's the end goal for everybody, but not the way you
Right.
get there is always the same. So thank you very much for sharing that.
No problem.
So since like computer engineering and pharmacy are totally different. So did you have to go back to school? You had to go back to school for your prerequisites?
Actually, yes, I did. It actually took me 2 years. I went to community college to take my sciences. And plus I was working full time. So I decided to take those classes, take my time, and then apply to pharmacy school.
Okay. I know that's challenging. I just got done doing that.
Oh, yeah.
But you
It
can always
can be,
get it
yes.
done.
True. Very, very
So
true.
what type of I know you work at a hospital, like what type of work do you do now as a pharmacist?
Pharmacy, they have so many positions and responsibilities in the hospital. And yes, I work as a pediatric clinical pharmacist. And what we do, we focus more on the children, like from newborns to 18 years old. And the work that we do over there is I verify orders like the physician orders because now the physicians are able to put in orders on the computer. So that makes it a whole lot easier, minimizes errors, mistakes, and sometimes with the way the doctors write, it's hard to read their handwritings. So it makes it a lot easier to verify the orders, check their mistakes if the doses are correct, if it's appropriate for that child's age, and if also the dose, you have to compare and check to see if the medication that the kids are taking there's no drug interactions or allergic reactions, or if a kid has an allergies, you have to check to see if it's okay. So we check the doctor's orders. We also, well, what I do, I check all the technicians that are preparing the medications. And with children, it requires a whole lot of calculations. You have to have your
Yes.
calculator. So we're constantly calculating and double checking to see if the technicians prepared it properly, if they use the right diluents or the solutions, and also making sure that the doses are correct if they calculated them properly. We also do some teaching, teach the parents if they're the guardians, whoever, or even if the kid is old enough to understand, the medication. We teach the children, teach the mom how to administer the medications, the times to give the meds, and understand things to avoid also,
Mhm.
And we also, answer questions. Sometimes the physicians might need clarifications on how to dose a medication or when to check levels and all that. And also the nurses too. We also educate the nurses. So those are a few things that we do.
Thank you so much for that. I'm really trying to just give as much information about pharmacy as I can. Like initially, when I was introduced to pharmacy, I only knew about like the retail pharmacist, and it kind of
Right.
stirred me away. And until I started working as a technician in like the hospital and long-term care, I
Right.
was like, wow, basically wherever a technician is, the pharmacist is right there. So if I could do this as a
Exactly.
technician, I'm wondering what I could do as a pharmacist. So that's what kind of got my thought process going about going to pharmacy school, because it was always in the back of my head. I'm like, I don't want to be at a Walgreens or CVS. Now, nothing's
Right.
wrong with it, but it just wasn't right for
Right.
me.
Right.
So
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
I'm trying to start a series, which you would be the first, with interviewing different pharmacists that's in different, sectors of pharmacy, to let people know that we do more than just, stand around the corner. I mean,
Right.
behind the counter, and people think we're counting pills, or that's all we do.
Very true.
So
That's
thank you
very
so
true.
much.
That's so true, And the funny thing is that, being behind the counters in the retail stores or even hospital, there's so much more in pharmacy
Definitely.
that I wish I was exposed to that also. So people do need to understand that there's so much more to pharmacy.
Yes, definitely. Now, did you complete a residency?
No, I did not.
You did?
I was
Okay.
No, I didn't. I was ready to be done and start working.
Oh, okay. No, it's nothing wrong. I just want to, get different
I
people's
understand. Oh, no, no, no. I totally understand. But yeah, that wasn't for me at that moment.
Okay. Oh, that's great. So after school, after you graduated, you just went straight, was now working at the hospital, is that your first job as a pharmacist?
Yes, actually, I was working as a technician. That actually was
Oh,
what
okay.
got me started. So I was working as a technician while going to taking my prerequisites. So
Okay.
luckily for me, there was a need. So when I graduated, they hired me at the time.
Oh, that is great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I hope that
Yes.
happens for me.
Oh, definitely. I pray it definitely will. It will happen for you.
Thanks. Now, we know each other because you're going through another program, getting your public health, your master's in public health.
That's
And you
right.
reached out to me for just like advice regarding the program because you went to the same school I graduated from.
Yes,
So, what
correct.
made you like go back to school?
I really thought after pharmacy school, I am so done. No more school, none of that. But after working for some time, you come to realize that maybe there's so much more so much more you can bring in or you can learn with the community, with all these issues and problems with health. There's so much more to it. And I have thought about, even helping Nigeria, going back home and doing something for my country. So right now, I'm still taking the classes. I'm still trying to learn and expand my learning and maybe figure it out from there what exactly I would like to do. So
Oh,
right
that's
now,
good.
still taking my baby steps.
That's good. How are classes going?
Oh my gosh, I said I need to send you an email and talk to you. But so far, so far so good. Let me just put it that way.
Oh, great. You will do great. I know it's hectic, but you will do fine. And see, like I try to like I have a little following on Instagram and then through this
Mhm.
podcast, like people I don't know, like once I guess they get up the nerve to actually reach out to me,
Right.
they're like, "Oh, I wanted to ask you this, but it's kinda too late." And I'm just like, "Why don't you say something?" Like, I'm not gonna bite your head off, but you're definitely, a
Oh,
witness to definitely me helping, and I stay in
yes.
contact, and I say that
Yes,
all the
you
time.
do. You do. I mean, I really do appreciate it because you do respond immediately and it makes a big difference because those times I send you those emails is right when I needed to hear from you.
I
So,
know the feeling. That's why I make sure that I respond and I
yes, you
think
do.
through what I wanna say because I know
And
the
you are
feeling.
very detailed. I really do appreciate your help. I really do.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. But those are all the questions that I have for you. Do you have any questions for me? I mean, we could talk about anything. It doesn't matter.
Well, not right now. I mean, I just want people, not necessarily questions, but as when I mean, this is awesome what you're doing, and I wish it was available when I was in school. And I just want you to be able to also share with people that they need to understand there's so much to do in pharmacy. I mean, I even went, online looking and seeing, I remember looking into research associate, and all the health informatics. And these are jobs that they're more, it's like many, even working for the drug companies, the pharmaceutical industry.
Mhm.
There's so much that people can do in getting involved in the new study drugs, which, I mean, even in my hospital, they're starting to do that now. And it's like, there's so much you can go, people that love to travel, that want to work from home or go to another country and do some research. It's like, it's so much more that they should just keep an open mind and know that there's so much more than just retail and hospital.
Okay. Thank you. Do you have any advice for future pharmacy students or current pharmacy students that maybe you wish you would have done a little, not differently, because
Right.
everybody's experience is, unique, but
Different.
just
Right.
something, some tips for students?
Well, for students, well, even first of all, even applying for pharmacy school, I would say it is very important to get some type of experience in the hospital or retail because when you go for the interview, that helps gives you some type of confidence during the interview. So as you respond, it's like the confidence that you get out of it, it makes a big difference during the interview. And while in pharmacy school, it's important to know your connections, know the people that you consider your friends, because working in groups really helps. It makes a big difference because everybody, they all have their own ideas or way of applying certain questions and different way of understanding certain things. So it helps broaden your and give you more insight to whatever the professor might be teaching, and you never know where the questions will come from there.
Yeah, that's something I did like apply to even in the MPH program
Right,
because working with like nurses and doctors and things like that, you still have to know how to talk to people and
exactly.
work with people. So that's one thing that I really loved about connecting public health with pharmacy as well. I mean, just, everyday life.
Yeah. Right, that's true. That is very true. It makes a difference.
Yes. All right. So thank you again for being a guest on the show. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. I know you said you were a little nervous, but you did great.
I, I appreciate it. This is like my first one. I said I didn't want to disappoint you, and I said, you know what? I got to break out of this and just do it.
Oh, I appreciate it. No disappointment here. Lovely. I want to thank Timmy again for being a guest on the show, and I hope you guys have definitely been enjoying the guests that I've had on recently because I know I have. Now, to talk about the scholarship opportunity, to my research, there are a limited amount of scholarships that I found for incoming pharmacy students. However, the sponsor for this show, Crack the PCAT, has 4 different awards for students and opportunities for you to receive a scholarship. They have a first place for $1,000, second place for $600, third place for $300, and fourth place for $100. In order to apply for this scholarship, you must go to crackthepcat.com, submit a 1 to 2 page essay explaining why you deserve the scholarship, submit your resume, a 2x2 photo, and an unofficial transcript, and your GPA must be a 3.0 or above. The deadline for this opportunity is August 30th of 2020 at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So again, go on to crackthepcat.com not only for your PCAT study materials, but also for this awesome opportunity.